Ever wondered why songbirds sing? Well, we now have an answer.
I have wondered that, actually. A new study at UW-Madison researched that question. Laura Reeders is a professor of integrative biology at UW-Madison, and she led the study. And she joins us now. Hi there.
Laura.
Nice to see you.
Hi, great. Thanks for having me.
So songbirds sing in the spring to attract a mate, right? But
That's
now
right.
they sing all year round, right? Why is that?
Well, songbirds do sing all year round, and we had spent some time studying males singing to attract females, and it's clear what rewards that, right? They attract a mate. But we became really interested in the fact that they do sing at other times. And right now, if you look outside, the birds that we study are starlings. You'll see they're forming large flocks, and well, in these flocks, they sing at high rates. And we know it's important for song learning. They learn song from adult tutors. They have to practice. But in an immediate sense, we were perplexed. We didn't know why they would do it. They don't attract a mate. They don't repel, an intruder. They just sing. And Darwin actually proposed that maybe they were doing it for their own amusement.
Really?
Oh, interesting.
And does the song vary throughout the year?
It actually does. I mean, we've recorded it and analyzed it statistically, and you see that they sing when they're singing in a serious context, to attract a mate or to defend a territory. They sing a very stereotyped song. It's very rigid, it's very structured. They repeat it again and again in the same way. But in the non-breeding season, when in these flocks and they're practicing song, they're riffing. They repeat things in different sequences, different orders. They're much sloppier. I think of it like freeform jazz.
And are some species of birds better singers than others?
Well, they definitely are some really famous singers. I mentioned that we study starlings, and I know people consider them a pest species, and they can't stand starlings, but they are amazing singers. They're actually vocal mimics. They incorporate songs of other birds in their songs. They incorporate human speech. So now maybe you can listen. You might hear some of this and maybe also add them to your list of good singers.
And you also discovered that when the birds sing, they release a chemical in their brain?
That's right. So, we did a study first we had to figure out how do you ask a bird if it feels good to sing. So we found that if they sing in a certain place and songs associated with reward, they will go back to that place. So they'll develop a place preference. And then we paired that with opioid manipulation. So opioids are things like heroin and fentanyl. They're kind of famous. They induce pleasure. They reduce pain. And humans, but also birds, produce their own endogenous opioids. And those underlie naturally rewarding behaviors. And we found that if you give a bird an opioid, it will sing like crazy in these fall flocks. And then we found that if you would block temporarily the opioid receptors, they would no longer show a place preference, and they sang less, suggesting that these endogenous opioids are critical for making that song rewarding.
Wow.
So it feels good when they sing.
Yeah, and are they happy when they're singing? Can you attach emotions to it?
Yeah, people say, oh, you have to be careful with animals, but I would say that, we do see that they develop this preference for a place, and I kind of think of it like now during the pandemic, I keep finding myself in the kitchen. That's because good things happen in that place, right? And so if they're like humans, and it seems like, at least endogenous opioids are shared by humans and by birds, I do think you could generalize.
Is there something released in our brains when we hear the birds?
When we hear the birds, I would guess that we are releasing some endogenous opioids. I think social contact, just like the birds in those flocks, social contact is releasing opioids. And that suggests we're deprived right now, while we're social distancing. We are not experiencing our endogenous opioid reward.
Is there something that you were really surprised about when you did this study?
I was surprised it worked, to be honest. We thought, can we ask a bird if it feels good to sing? And I think that was the biggest challenge. So we borrowed methods from psychology to ask animals about their emotional state. And when we found that the birds singing in those flocks developed such a preference for a place that we paired with the singing, I was surprised. And then to find that the opioids stimulated, I think each step of this was really exciting for us to find, after about 150 years, that what Darwin proposed, that singing might be rewarding, that they do it for their own amusement. I thought that was really amazing to find some experimental support for that.
Mother Nature is fascinating.
It absolutely is. What an incredibly fascinating study.
Lauren, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you for sharing it with us today. Good to see you.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you so much. Great.